What is up, my fellow Chibits? I hope all of you are having a very good day.
It seems like it wasn't just Raphtalia that got daughter zoned. In fact, Philo as well seems to be gunning for Naofumi's attention because of what happened within this episode. So, let's talk about that. Most of the episode, or at least the second half of the episode, is based on Raphtalia and Philo's conflicted feelings for Naofumi. Now, as we know, it's very apparent that Raphtalia loves Naofumi. She has feelings, she wants to be with him, she wants to be with him romantically. And it's for a good reason. We can see why she would think that way because of everything that he has done for her. It makes sense why she would fall for him. However, as we know, Naofumi does not view Raphtalia as a potential love interest. He views her as a daughter or a family member. He doesn't view her as someone that he could seek marriage with. And so, I feel bad for Raphtalia, and you can see that his decision, what he said about her in the last episode, really plagues her mind within this episode. Because throughout the second half, you see to where she's constantly getting jealous, she's getting upset that Philo's getting a lot of attention, and she's not really getting focused on anymore. And there's a couple of reasons for this. Number one, besides just obvious daughter zone, it's because when he looks at Raphtalia, he doesn't look at her as if she's a child anymore. He may treat her like a child in some cases, and he may think, you know, she's like a daughter to him, but he doesn't treat her like a child. That was the whole point of a few episodes back, when his entire perspective on her changed, and he saw her as an adult. So the reason why he doesn't really brush her hair anymore, you know, baby her like he's doing Philo right now, is because he doesn't see Raphtalia as a child. And so that is the big reason. And Raphtalia, it's kind of ironic that she wanted to be viewed more like an adult by Naofumi, but now that he's viewing her like an adult, he's not viewing her in a way romantically, and she's a little bit upset about that because she lost the I guess, the ability to act like a child around him and have it to where, you know, he brushed her hair and, you know, all sorts of little things that you could get away with as a child. And so she's upset about that. And she had a lot of jealousy within her heart while looking at Philo in this episode. And it's honestly not Philo's fault at all. She's a child. I mean, we know demi-humans, they age differently than humans because when they level up, they get, you know, bigger, they become more adult-like. Okay, fine. But the point still stands is that if we're looking at the grand scheme of things and the way, you know, Philo looks, she still looks like a 10-year-old girl. And she was born probably less than a month ago in the actual world, so she's really not that old. She's a legit child. And she is progressing rather quickly, but even then, she's still a child, and it makes sense why Naofumi would baby her like he does. But anyways, once that scene is done, and we see from, you know, Raphtalia's perspective and how she's getting a lot of jealousy for Philo, she realizes that Philo has her own problems. She wants to be able to be with Naofumi as well. Naofumi, we know he views them both as daughters. So he is building a harem, and I don't know how I feel about that, because even though I don't think just because the genre harem makes something bad, I just don't like harems in general because it can lead to some situations that kind of like derail the story, make it to where the story isn't relevant anymore and it just focuses on the love triangle, love hexagon, whatever. Hopefully, this doesn't become a reoccurring thing, constantly introducing female characters, a part of Naofumi's group, just to have him building up a harem. I really am concerned about that. But the point is right now is that the second half was bonding. It was bonding for Raphtalia and Philo to realize that, you know, they both need to work together. Regardless of their romantic feelings for the person that they care about deeply, they still need to be able to work together, cooperate to get things done. And you can see throughout the majority of the episode, there was some issues to where they weren't working together properly. There was a lot of, like, rough around the edges. Like, when they were dealing with the plants, you had to where Raphtalia was left in her own devices to deal with the plant, and you had to where Philo was just watching, like, you got this and all that while she was tied up. You know, there were situations that led to some problems in the combat, and they were able to kind of get that settled towards the end with them working together, realizing their feelings, expressing how they feel about Naofumi, and, you know, trying to work forward to eventually have him view them romantically. So, a cute little second half to the episode. It got the point across, and I think that, you know, this episode was needed, or that scene was needed, because it needs to be addressed. Raphtalia has feelings, and Philo most likely does too, so it needed to be addressed, so it's not technically a waste of a episode. It just, hopefully this doesn't become a, you know, reoccurring thing. But let's get into the first half. So the first half of the episode is Naofumi, fixing the issues that the spear hero created. Now, this was already obvious that something like this was going to happen in this episode, because if you go back to the previous episode, we found out inside of, like, the cave or whatever, there was a seed in this chest that was taken away, and note left, and this seed would, you know, give off, like, a tragedy. If, like, anyone was to plant the seed, it would be really disastrous for anyone in the area. And we knew that from the episode as well, that the spear hero was able to fix famine in a certain village. So you could put, you know, A and B together, and you're like, okay, this makes sense what's going on here. So we knew that the spear hero, he created some problems, and that's kind of what, like I said, the first half of this episode is about. Him, Naofumi, fixing that, cleaning up the mess of another hero. And it's amazing that, once again, the spear hero shows his complete lack of understanding and not really getting the full picture of what he's doing as a hero. He's creating more problems than actually helping people. I mean, he may have fixed the famine, but in reality, it caused more problems, because now the village infrastructure is destroyed. You have these vines that's literally ripping buildings down, destroying the walls and defenses. You have people that were getting hurt. I mean, it caused so much more problems than just a simple famine did. And so, instead of like something taking maybe about a year to fix, it could probably take 5 to 10 years now to, you know, fix the entire village, just because of how much damage that one seed caused. And so, that is the problem here, and that these heroes, they don't really know what they're doing. They're just winging it, and they're not comprehending, you know, the long term of things. They're more looking at short-sighted, quick and easy fixes than actually trying to fix things permanently where it never happens again. Which, by the way, I do want to point out something. In the last episode, when we were getting told about the whereabouts of certain individual heroes, we found out about the one that was kind of oddly like Kirito. I think it was said that he killed a dragon. I believe it was said. And if you go to the end of this episode after the credits, you see a dragon laying down rotting / decaying. So most likely, we're probably going to have a repeat of the first half of this episode where the shield hero has to go in and probably fix a problem from another hero that they caused. So, yeah, it's showing that once again, these heroes aren't really good, and Naofumi's probably the only proper hero because he's taken time to learn the world, which, by the way, that's a big point I want to get into. As you know, Naofumi is now technically a traveling merchant. He is someone that is able to go to different land and all that, different towns, sell merchant goods and stuff. You know, he's gaining quite a reputation. You even see that displayed in this episode. And because of that, he's able to learn about the world. He's able to learn about, you know, the civilians, how they interact with each other, and figure out, like, maybe their political system, their forces, all of that. He's figuring things out organically. And it doesn't feel like it's being forced. He's not having a bunch of information shoved down his throat to where it just has to happen so quickly, because that's what all the heroes are doing. For instance, the spear hero, the bow hero, and the sword hero, they all have to quickly learn things, and that's what they've been doing. They've been just forced on an adventure, progressing so fast, power leveling, that they have no idea what's going on, which is kind of very relevant to a game in a way. Like, have you ever played an RPG game, and let's say you're level 1, and you have a friend that's max level, and he's like, hey, you know what, I could power level you through this entire game to max level before you can be with me. You know, yeah, that he can do that probably in 5 to 10 minutes, maybe an hour, but the person that's level 1 will not get to learn the game. They will not be able to learn the mechanics of things throughout the game, and things you should know before you're like level 10. And that's kind of what's going on with these heroes, is that they've been power leveled, they're so strong because of their OP weapons, they had it on easy mode, that they kind of skipped the tutorial, they skipped everything about this world, and they know nothing. And Naofumi is someone that's been forced to actually play since the very beginning to learn everything. And so yeah, that's kind of how I feel about this episode, and what, you know, separates Naofumi from the other heroes. But, okay. Besides all of that, little details I do want to get into. I want to talk about Philo and just how her eating habits are. She's such a cute freaking character. Like, seeing her animated and how she's just constantly eating. Like, the first half, she's just eating constantly, non-stop eating, while you have Naofumi handling the problem. I'm just like, does she never stop? Like, she is really gonna run up that food bill. I mean, she's a swole girl. I mean, when you look at how big she is in her bird form, she's massive, but still, just seeing how much she was eating, I just couldn't help but have a chuckle. Oh yes, and one last thing I would like to mention, I do like the message of how Raphtalia, and Philo came together to get the gift for Naofumi. Because when you think about what the story has done for them, they have constantly been given things by Naofumi. I mean, Naofumi gave Raphtalia hope, gave her life itself, basically. She's been able to view the world very differently and is able to help out people that have suffered the same way as she has, or stop people from suffering the same way that she has. And Philo is an individual that, honestly, just by coincidence, she was born and she is here. It could be, you know, just poor circumstances that she could have wound up in someone else's hands, and she would have had a horrible, horrible master, and she probably would have never had a fulfilling life whatsoever. So when you think about it, both of these two characters, Philo and Raphtalia, they owe a lot to Naofumi, and Naofumi does owe a lot to them too. I'm not saying it's just one-sided, but they realized that they wanted to get something nice for him because they cared about him deeply, and so when you see the gift they hand to him, it has so much meaning to it. It's a powerful scene, and probably one of the most powerful scenes of the episode. But I think that's about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about this week's episode of Shield Hero. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Please be honest. Tell me how you feel about, once again, the Shield Hero having to fix something that another hero caused. And, you know, let me know if you think that Philo is a really good character and that you're happy that she was added a part of the main cast. So, yeah, if you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.